morning, everyone. So I thought that there was a microphone. There's not, but I'm going to project so that you'll be able to hear me. Good morning. My name is Shanika Thomas, and I am chair of the Wake County Board of Commissioners, and I want to welcome everyone to this beautiful state-of-the-art space. You all... You are some of the very first to see and to tour our new Wake County Emergency Operations Center. So after some brief remarks, heartfelt thanks to our partners and supporters, we hope that you'll stay and explore and view our space. I want to acknowledge my fellow commissioners who are here with us, Commissioner Don Mile, Commissioner Cheryl Stallings, and our Vice Chair, Susan Evans. You'll hear from Commissioner Calabria in just a few moments. I want to call out our incredible Wake County Fire and Emergency Management Director, Daryl Alford. Daryl. Deputy Director Josh Crichton and their great team. Josh. This space, y'all, is night and day from what they had. So I know that they're grateful, and we'll talk more about that shortly. We're also honored to be joined by North Carolina Secretary of Public Safety, Eddie Buffalo. Secretary, and North Carolina Emergency Management Director Will Ray. These are our state partners, and they're critical to this mission. And because they too will benefit immensely from this facility, we want to welcome and say thank you to our municipal leaders and local police and fire officials that are here today. Your teams will also be on the front lines of emergencies, and we could not respond without your partnership and resources on the ground. Finally, I'm extremely thankful for the support of our congressional leaders. Congresswoman Deborah Ross and retired Congressman David Price, they're the ones who pushed through the federal dollars last year to help make this renovation possible. And they couldn't be here with us today. Congresswoman Ross was called back into session in DC, and she was very disappointed. But Maggie and Kimberly are here from her staff joining us today. Thank you both. We'll hear from Kimberly soon. And so while they're not here today, they will be standing in and giving her thanks for her support. We also want to say thank you to Congressman Wiley Nickel, who represents Wake County, and he also knows how important this asset is to his district. He intended to be here today, but again, is needed for important votes back in Washington. So whether you serve on the federal level, the state level, or the local level, the priority for all of us is to create a safe community where our residents feel safe. It's what every family wants for the place that they call home. And now our residents can have that peace of mind knowing that this facility exists. Knowing that it's big enough to accommodate partner agencies and the media, knowing that it's equipped with the latest technologies, and knowing that it's ready at a moment's notice. If the past 3 years has taught us anything, it's taught us that we must be prepared for pandemics, for hurricanes, for civic unrest. We must be prepared for emergencies that we expect and the ones that we don't. A small room in the basement of the courthouse next door used to be our Emergency Operations Center. It was cramped, inadequate, it lacked connectivity, and limited our ability to respond and recover in a crisis. I say that with a smile because I'm so excited about this new space. When we ask our staff to report in for an emergency, it's all hands on deck. It's 12-hour shifts, it's overnight shifts, sometimes day in and day out. And now they have a high-tech command center that they need to coordinate emergency operations. It's a serious investment. If agencies can't respond and recover due to a lack of communication or collaboration, the consequences can be life-threatening. So now we're primed to communicate and coordinate better than ever. Today is about coordination, effectiveness, and saving lives. So I am ecstatic, and I'm relieved to be able to open the doors today. I'm more confident than ever that we're ready to protect this community when the next alarm sounds. And joining us next is someone I know shares in my excitement, Commissioner Matt Calabria, who serves as chair of our Public Safety Committee. And I turn things over to him. Welcome, Matt.
Well, thank you very much, Madam Chair. Thanks to all of you for being here. As the chair knows, I'm not known for being short-winded, so I will take your injunction about being brief to heart. But again, I'm Matt Calabria. I've had the honor of serving at Wake County since 2014 as a county commissioner. And I've since that time served as chair of the Public Safety Committee and gotten to work with so many of the wonderful folks in this room. We all know that one of the most important things that we can do as local officials, as state officials, is to make sure that we keep our folks safe. And this is a huge part of it. And this facility helps us not just keep not just protect those who protect us, but also make sure that they have the tools that they need to succeed. Of course, as the county grows, our services and our facilities are going to have to grow along with it. But of course, as the chair alluded to, we had an old, dilapidated 1,600 square foot emergency operations center in the basement with no windows. You couldn't, not everybody could see the monitors. There were communications issues. There was no break room. There was no space to take a personal phone call. We had emergency crisis plans with lists of personnel that we couldn't even fit into that room. And so for 7 straight months during the pandemic, we were crammed in the age of social distancing, no less, and often had to expand into, we had calls, people sitting at random tables and chairs on the phone trying to direct people to services that they needed during the height of the pandemic. We also had to decline requests from partner agencies, from municipal partners, national disaster volunteer organizations, and others, because we simply didn't have the space and the technology and the resources to accommodate that. So the chair's right. The last 3 years have really emphasized to us the importance of preparation, but it's also reinforced how vital partnerships are in responding to crises. And though it's been said once already, and it's going to be said again, we are greatly appreciative of Representative Ross and her focus on this and securing $1 million for this facility. So thank you so much for doing that. And of course, we know that Representative Wiley-Nickel is very supportive of these efforts as well. So just a few things about this new facility. Our investment here is going to has made possible high-tech information displays that everyone in the EOC can actually see. Space to accommodate news briefings, shown here, and partner agencies on location, new teleconferencing capabilities, high-efficiency lighting, backup connectivity, private call rooms and breakout spaces, not just having to stand in the galley kitchen to make phone calls. Spaces to allow first responders to step away from emergencies for their mental health and well-being of the whole team. And so ultimately, all of that matters because this is going to be the nerve center during a hurricane or a crisis or, heaven forbid, another pandemic. And so we have to be at our best. We have to make sure that no one ever doubts that Wake County had their back. No first responder, no resident doubts that in a crisis, when minutes matter and when quality matters and communication and coordination matter, no one should doubt that we've got their back. And so that is really exemplified, I think, in this facility. And we're going to make the most efficient use of this space that we possibly can. We're not always in a crisis, thankfully, and so when the EOC isn't activated, it's going to serve as conferencing space. We've got an innovation team that's going to meet here. Departments will host collaborative meetings and training sessions here. So we're going to make the most of every tax dollar and of the space that we have just upgraded. So in sum, we're moving from a 1,600 square foot space to an over 7,400 state-of-the-art square foot state-of-the-art space. And because of its design, we actually have the ability to flex it and to make it even bigger to more than 13,700 square feet if and as necessary. So if we want to retain and recruit a skilled workforce, if we want this to be the kind of place that people want to live, that companies want to come and thrive, and most importantly, if we want this to be the kind of place where all of our residents are as safe as they reasonably can be, we need facilities like this. And so I'm very grateful because I know it takes a village to build a facility, and I'm grateful for our staff's leadership, and I know our county manager Ellis is going to recognize a number of folks who have been working on this as well. But it really is a collaborative, community-wide, statewide effort, federal effort to get this done. And I know that we're all extraordinarily grateful. And so with that, we're going to turn it over to Kimberly Moore, who's the Director of Civic Engagement for Congresswoman Deborah Ross's office, and then we'll go from there. So, Ms. Moore, thank you.
Good morning. On behalf of Congresswoman Deborah Ross, I am honored to be here with you all, and I'll just share the letter that she had provided. Dear Commissioners, I'd hoped to be in attendance today for the Wake County Emergency Operations Center ribbon cutting. Please accept this letter as an expression of my sincere appreciation for your invitation and for your outstanding leadership on behalf of our community. I would like to send my congratulations to members of the Wake County government and the Wake County Emergency Operations Center for working together to open this important and new facility. Wake County Emergency Management plays an essential role in keeping residents informed and safe. Whether it's from extreme weather events, public health emergencies, or other threats, we all know how vital it is for our community to have the necessary resources to respond to emergencies, and this new facility will help meet these urgent needs. By repurposing a vacated space and transforming it into a state-of-the-art emergency operations center, our country will be better equipped to provide the timely assistance needed to save lives. Last year, I worked hand in hand with former Congressman David Price to secure $1 million in federal funding to support construction of this facility. I am honored to have played a role and look forward to all of the good that will come from this project. Congratulations on this important milestone. It is an honor to represent you in Congress. I look forward to joining you for future events and that tour. Please do not hesitate to let me know or my office if there's ever anything we can do to be of assistance. Very truly yours, Deborah K. Ross, Member of Congress.
Thank you very much. And I also wanted to make sure I recognized Mayor Ken Marshburn, who is here, who's been a long-suffering mayor of Garner and done an excellent job and really has been an advocate for public safety in our community as well. So with that, we're going to turn it over to our head honcho, Mr. David Ellis, our county manager, who has done a great deal for public safety. And I know that as chair of the Public Safety Committee and as someone who loiters in his office and hears about what is keeping him up at night. And a lot of times it's making sure that we are adequately supporting and recruiting and retaining our first responders and making sure that we've got facilities like this. So thank you for losing sleep over things like this. Thank you, David.
Thank you, Commissioner Calabria. But before I get into my prepared statements, Josh, are you in here? Where's Josh? Josh, stand on up. So this is persistence personified right here. When I got here 8 years ago, Josh talked about the need for a modern EOC center, and there were some discussions maybe 10 years before then. And Josh, we've got it. We're here, so I want to also just give you a shout out. Congratulations for being persistent. So let's hop back in the time machine, and we're going to go back to early 2020 before the first case of COVID in North Carolina. We're coordinating our response and convening our team in the old EEOC. Every day, and I mean every day, starting in March, members of Team Wake would wind their ways through the basement of the old courthouse. And it's a maze for those of you who have not tried it. You have to leave little cookie crumbs to get back to where you started in order to take their place at the EOC. When social distancing guidelines went into effect, we quickly realized that the space was not suitable, and our teams worked hard to upfit the area left vacant by the Board of Elections on the first floor of this building. It was more spread out, but it wasn't ideal. Staff pushed together tables to form makeshift workstations, and there was nowhere for our employees who were working 12-hour shifts day after day to escape the chaos and the stress that came with COVID. The history of those experiences make today even more meaningful for members of Team Wake. And unless you've been involved in an emergency operations center activation, it can be difficult to understand the stress that our employees went through. They're working long shifts, sometimes overnight. They're away from their families and their support systems for long periods of time. So as all of us look back on COVID, if you had told me that we would have been at this for however many years, I would have been like, you're kidding me. You know, we went into this with a typical, it's an emergency, maybe it's 2-3 days. Those 2-3 days turned into 2-3 weeks, turned into 2 or 3 months, turned into 2 or 3 years. That's a lot on staff to be here. And I always applaud our team and I applaud our municipal partners because they never wavered. They came, they performed, and they performed above expectation. So while there's top-tier the technology in here enables our team to do their jobs more effectively and efficiently, so do the spaces. It allows our folks to take a breath. It allows our folks to step away for a moment. It allows our folks to breathe. There's a kitchen with running water. That's an inside joke for many of you all. There are areas where you can step away and make a private call home to your family. Many of those take these things for granted on a daily basis, but during an emergency, they can make all the difference. The mental health and well-being of our team members have always been priorities of mine, and I'm extremely proud of the ways to support them have been incorporated into this building. I want to take a few moments and thank a number of folks. I'd like to recognize our architect, Little Diversified. Stand on up. Thank you. I'd like to recognize our general contractor, Harrod and Associates. All right, here we are. And we want to give a special and a huge shout out, Mark Forestieri, who leads our facilities design and construction team, for your leadership on this project, and David Rutherfield. Stand on up. And where's my favorite Buffalo Bill fan, Kelly? Ah, there she is. Thank you. Kelly is our GSA director, was intimately involved in this project. I'd also like to recognize our emergency management team for your guidance throughout this process. Darshan, I know I saw you earlier. Thank you. Darshan had the vision for technology that can be found throughout this facility. Your expertise in this area has placed us in an excellent position for future emergencies. It takes a lot of people to make a day like this possible and a project like this successful. Thank you to everyone again. So thank you again for joining us. But before we tour the space that we've talked so much about today, I'd like to officially, and as we had to cut the ribbon, or in this case, the caution tape. You know, I really should read this stuff before I go. I'd like to invite our speakers, elected officials, and folks to join us up front. Please come up front. Thank you.
1, 2, 3.